for joining. I'm Margaux. I'm a reporter at CoinDesk, and we're going to be talking today about SocialFi and monetization on Web3, how that sort of differs from Web2, all the good stuff. But before we get into it, I'm going to let everyone on stage introduce themselves a little bit more. Who are you? Talk a little bit about your platforms. Yeah, why don't we start with you, Ludovica, and then we can keep going.
Sure. Thank you so much. I don't know if this is, can you hear me? Okay, now better, yeah. So my name is Ludovica. I co-founded zeroone together with Colburn Bell and Renee, who are here in the stage. And zeroone, for who is not familiar with the app, is a creative-focused consumer app that basically is reinventing the way how creators share, own, engage, and monetize their creations in an emerging creator economy and creator industry in which many artists are starting to use always more like social media platform to gain visibility and monetization. We're looking to kind of like tap in those untapped issues. For example, authentication of content, provable ownership, and B2B peer-to-peer monetization. We have launched the platform in August of 2023. As of now, we have basically authenticated over 12,000 wallet addresses with around like 5,000 to 6,000 monthly active users. These artists have actually created over 1 million of artworks that are minted on zeroone. 82% of those artworks have been collected, and we are growing across like all sides of the world, with our leading country to be like the United States, followed by Japan and South Korea.
Hey guys, Jason here, CEO of The Arena. Previously, Stars Arena was acquired in November of last year, and we rebuilt it to be the top SocialFi app on Avalanche, and hopefully all of crypto soon. And yeah, this is a perfect panel for us as we focus on the intersection of social and the financialization of crypto. And our main purpose is to allow creators to monetize better than they can on existing social media platforms.
Hi guys, my name is Eric Choi. I'm the founder and CEO of The Guild. The Guild is a Web3 protocol that allows you to monetize your network. I guess we're in the interchains between a Web3 version of LinkedIn / Fiverr and Upwork. We've basically gamified each and every single interaction within the amount of social immersion that people have while they're working on building out their careers, both in the Web3 and in the Web2 space. Great.
So just so the audience knows, we'll have time for Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions come up during our conversation, please save them for later. But why don't we start with, we're here at the Avalanche Summit, and most of your platforms started on Avalanche, if I remember correctly, but not only serve Avalanche except for Arena, but maybe we can start with like why launch on Avalanche? What is it specifically about Avalanche that enables these features, for monetization, especially for SocialFi apps?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I can
take
it.
Anyone, but just take it.
Yeah, I can take it. I think for us, like the objective was, we loved, I come from more a traditional art background. My other two co-founders come from more like a blockchain and blockchain tech background and passion. And I think that like the initial objective was how do we bring blockchain to the masses, especially like the cultural industry. And in order to do this, one of like the most important things was distribution, and removing kind of like those technical and economical barriers that have stopped a bit this adoption over time. And we realized that like the main tech, and basically at the time like the only tech you could do this with was Avalanche, because we were paying gas fees for all our users at the time, and now we're on a subnet or an L1. So we had to partner with Biconomy to facilitate gasless transaction, as well as with Particle to create like smart wallet on behalf of users upon like using like social features to log in. And there was no other like effectively like chain that has this tech, this scalable tech, especially now with like the release of Subnet, the fact that you can spin off your L1 and like facilitate like millions of transactions and really like go out there and distribute like content to as many people as possible. It's something that is scalable and doable only on their tech. And I think as well, like one competitive advantage that it had is that we were like a bit like the first one in art and culture, so there was a bit like a white paper there, and we had like more possibility to kind of like shape that ecosystem with our vision together, with like aligned with their vision as well.
Yeah, I think Ludovico hit on a lot of great reasons for building here. I think Avalanche is really special because of its combination of like very performant tech. When you're trying to service like millions of transactions instantaneously, this is one of the few chains that enables that. But also for us, what's super important is also the culture. It's an incredible ecosystem. A lot of really enthusiastic community members. And then the partnerships were big for us. So for example, we're appealing to like a mass audience, Web3 and Web2. So like stuff like our partnership with Stripe, where you could buy AVAX in the app with a credit card. These sort of partnerships that the broader Avalanche ecosystem enables have served us very well. And then tying it all together, we hope to build an Avalanche L1 ourselves, or previously a subnet, where we could be sort of like a foundational layer for SocialFi with different dApps built on top. And that's only really possible on Avalanche. So definitely the right chain for us.
It's kind of hard to hit the nose after these two speak. There's only so much you can say about any piece of tech. So I'll keep it short. I think the first part is sub-second finality. At the initial time as to when we started building, there weren't that many chains that offered that, along with the expansive network of other tools that you can actually use to continue building. The secondary part is the subnet infrastructure, or well, as L1s, as they're put now. Are they L1s or networks now?
They're L1s.
Okay, they're L1s. Okay. Sorry, just wanted to make sure to get the language correctly. I think it's incredibly hard to build any form of consumer application with the idea of gas fees. Even with account abstraction or chain abstraction and these new technologies that are coming out that make it a little bit easier on the consumer side. But at the end of the day, I think this is the base analogy that I like to use. 99.99% of everyone in the world has used HTTPS today. But if you ask them, 90% of them will have no idea what that means. And I think that's the type of nascent technology that blockchain will become over a period of time. And I don't think without you being able to deploy your own type of networks that you're able to answer this question at this current point in time, modular or monolithic. And that's why we chose to build on AVAX.
And then just like zooming out of that specifically, you know, I feel like this industry, the specific part of this industry, basically, you know, talks a lot about the benefits of having monetization on Web3. Can you get a little bit more into that in terms of like why creators or, you know, creatives should look towards Web3 and towards of monetization strategies, whether, you know, it's through apps or through art or whatever, versus like a Web2, you know, or like an application?
Yeah. All right, I'll start with this. Great question. So we're seeing a rise in the creator economy like we've never seen before. And people are choosing to use these platforms pretty much to create a livelihood, whether that's like streaming or modeling or just general content creation. So when we're entering this future of a growing creator economy, we need sort of Web3 payment rails, like digital money, to really facilitate this. Now the key is how you embed that in a social experience in a way that is both like sticky for users and highly profitable for content creators. So like with the arena, just to use us as an example, we have people say, I've made more in the first 30 minutes on your app than I have like ever on X or Instagram or TikTok. And that's sort of where we really want to live. And SocialFi is a combination of like the virality of social networks and the financialization of crypto, right? And you're merging two really, really powerful primitives. So yeah, so with the arena, we've had over $9 million paid out to content creators in like 10 months, over 100 million in transaction volume. And this is still a social app. So we're really trying to optimize for that balance, offering these creator tools, but like really key ways for people to earn livelihoods in the creator economy. Last thing I'll say is in Web 2, most of the monetization happens off app, right? So you have to form brand, you have to get sponsorships or form brand deals, take your audience and monetize them elsewhere. With Web 3, you could build that in-app monetization, which, yeah, I think everyone on the stage is trying to do in their own way.
Sure. No, I'll just add something of super well explained. I think that Web3, what it gave is that peer-to-peer connection, creator to audience, creator to creator, where you don't need advertisement, which are more algorithm-led, money received, and I think that another super important point is that there is all the creator royalties earnings, which is a key for Web3 and something that is very hard to replicate in Web2 just because the foundation tech is really different, and Web3 has been made, I think, as an answer of this incredibly expanding creator economy where people are starting to effectively monetize with their content. And by minting something, you effectively have tangible value and tangible ownership of what you are effectively creating, and you can have a more long-tail monetization, incentivized engagement that is only doable with this tech. So, for sure, the royalties are, I think, another great passive income form for artists that is huge competitive advantage compared to Web2 platforms.
And what about ad spending is a huge part of Web 2. Is that something a tool that would be considered in Web 3, that kind of thing? I don't know.
So I guess I'll go off the second question and this third question at the same time.
Sure.
So we're a little bit different in terms of platform-wise or target demographic audience in comparison to you guys. The Arena and zeroone are both focused on the creator side or the artist side of things. We went, I guess, a little bit layer of a bit deeper. We wanted to look at creating a status window, if any of you guys are familiar with video games and anime, in real life. The question was, how do we get not just creators, because the creator economy, if you look at a bunch of dissertations that are online, are directly tied to the gig economy / freelancer markets. Actually, as one grows, so does the other. But the fee structures that are not laid transparent, whether it's across YouTube or Twitter or any of the existing paradigms, is actually largely due to advertiser spend. The fact that advertiser spend is tied to user data, which is actually something Telegram's having a really big problem with, due to the fact that they're completely privatized. You can't actually tell or target audiences, which is why that they're losing billions of dollars on an annual basis. What most people here probably don't know is that YouTube loses tens of billions of dollars every year. The only reason they're able to make that back is because Alphabet also owns Google Ads, which makes tens of billions of dollars, and now they're able to have this offset. The question becomes, what are advertisers actually seeking? All they're looking for is a targeted audience to speak to. Whether it's through the existing ideas of ads or video commercializations that we know now, or whatever that form of short-form content is in the future. What that will be with metaverse, AR, VR, so on and so forth, we have no idea. But what we can look at is how do you modularize that? How do you make that social engagement that's dipping, by the way, at an all-time low across every social media platform, including Twitter, including TikTok. The engagement rate across the board for DAU and user base is actually dipping by more than 30% year on year over the last 3.5 years, which is the history of the first time that it's happened across social networks. And I think what we're able to see as an answer through any of these platforms that are within the SocialFi space is how do we continue to target and give these modularized interactions, which is no longer controlled by mediums or the main company itself. Which is where you're seeing these P2P markets and these marketplaces come to be. Is there a decentralized ad structure that completely makes sense yet? No. But I think that that's what these platforms are kind of in the cusp of figuring out at this current point in time.
I also, I want to ask sort of about your users, especially I find that a lot of the applications in the Web3 space are constantly fighting for like the same users. There's all this like, as someone on one of my other panels had said, that there's all this like infrastructure building and like not enough developers or users to like poach off of. And so like, what are you doing in terms of, is the goal to get Web2 users to see sort of the lights of Web3 and you know, how they could, like, especially influencers, let's say, who have like a Web2 presence, maybe using Web3 and bring that mass following over? Or is it just like to stick within right now? And like sort of part of that too is this tech, like these apps are they too advanced for the user, like those Web2 users who may not understand blockchain, who may not understand what even Web3 is? You know, like, I don't know, that's a big question, but if you want to take a chunk at that, I will either one of you guys can start with that.
Yeah, so it's a great question. It's the age-old question. Who is your target audience when you're starting a protocol in crypto? I think everyone's ultimate goal, if they're building a social app, is to get the largest addressable market they can, which can't just be native crypto users. But you pretty much, it's naive to think that you can start with Web 2. Normally, the progression is you have to start in Web 3 and then gradually build towards that. So like with the arena, just speaking from personal experience, the majority of our users are native crypto users, but we are seeing for the first time musical artists, athletes, different people, especially during bull markets when the main narrative out there becomes hot again. Last cycle it was NFTs, now it's meme coins. People want to onboard into this industry and they get burned in a lot of ways. So if they could have a seamless onboarding experience with a social app that they are familiar with, and then it has embedded Web3 and crypto components, that's like the sweet spot. So it's like this crypto curious Web2 crowd that you could really start tapping into. And then from there, you have to make it, to answer the question, you have to make a product that is kind of seamless, that abstracts away a lot of the difficulties. Because you're not going to have people figuring out all these different wallets, seed phrases, decentralized exchanges, et cetera. So what we've done with the arena is it's a 2-click process. You connect your X account. Soon it's going to be Instagram and TikTok. In 2 clicks, you have an account in the arena. You have an embedded wallet created for you. You never need to hold crypto. As a matter of fact, you start earning it as people buy your ticket right away. And if you do want crypto, you can use your credit card with Stripe and get it. And just like that, you're commenting on posts, you're writing posts, people are liking it. It's just like any other Web2 app, but there's a huge financial component. We've had over $40 million tipped in meme coins. So content creators are getting tipped all types of meme coins they've never had before, $40 million worth. And people are trading, buying and selling their ticket, and they're earning AVAX. So this is a way to onboard people who have never been in the space, and all of a sudden they have a wallet with all this crypto in it, and they're engaging with a native crypto community and learning about it. So that's where we've tried to play, and hopefully we could expand more and more. We have a mobile app coming, and you gradually want to start increasing your addressable market.
What about creators, like, and the creative types, not creators, creative types?
Yeah. I think for us the gap was a bit smaller, because at the end of the day we're like, if there is a feed full of art or full of creations, like you resonate with that regardless. Of course, the fact that at the beginning we really abstracted like all the account creation and we like offered basically a gasless transaction was very helpful. But I think that like in our case, the game changer has been like the mechanics that we've implemented in zeroone, which were like quite unique in comparison, for example, to Instagram. As we were mentioning before, the engagement on traditional social media is like dropped in the last years, and so people are seeking for something that is different. And on zeroone, what we implemented is that basically instead of liking something, you can collect, but this is a gated action that is basically you can unlock only by creating. And the fact that you can suddenly like start being part of a creator journey, and you can like suddenly start having like an art collection and effectively like enter like this creator to creator like ecosystem for which everything is like scarce, but at the same time everything is like based on like FOMO and stickiness. I think that has helped a lot, like the initial onboarding. In fact, as of now, like most not most, but like almost half of our users are Web2 users who have minted and used zeroone for the first time and are interacting with blockchain technology within zeroone and are finding like the switching cost of passing from Instagram to zeroone through the concept of ownership. Effectively, like likes are becoming like underperforming, fleeting metrics that are not really getting anywhere, while the social value that you get throughout getting collected out in the platform or throughout effectively having like X amount of people owning a piece of art of yourself is actually becoming like more tangible value, and I think that like this has been like what has tweaked the interest from like Web2 creators into our platform.
Separately, like we're here at the summit in Argentina. A lot of us traveled many hours to get here, and I feel like we're always hearing about crypto being used in Argentina given its economic like issues. And I was on a flight, and the people next to me happened to not like I thought they were going to Avalanche Summit, but they weren't. And they talked about that they use in their marketing business crypto like constantly because of these economic issues. But when it comes to like the SocialFi space, I'm wondering if you guys are seeing a breakthrough specifically in like an area of the world or the type of person. I know you mentioned that Japan was high up on your list. I'm wondering also about some other, your platforms, if you've seen any kind of breakthrough and like why that type of person, why that area of the world? I'm
going to go first because I think this hits on the head of our business model a lot. So our business model is basically jobs, simply put short-term jobs. The day and age where you can get your 401k after working 20 years at a job after graduating from university is over. It was over, a decade ago. Nowadays, most people have multiple jobs, whether you're working full-time at a bank or in crypto. And usually they're based on your talents and interests. For us, where we originally got the idea was video games and anime, but we started doing market research, and usually this is when you start figuring out that it's a red ocean. What we figured out was that it was a blue ocean because there's so some of the numbers go, there's 1.9 billion people in the world that are unbanked, 1.1 billion that are unregistered. These are all World Bank statistics. Out of that, 1.9 billion, which is around 22% of the world's population, about 50% speak English, and 62% are between the working ages of 18 to 55. Now, let's start with Nigeria. The average daily wage there is around $2.10. You go to Manila in the Philippines, it's about $6.40. You go to Thailand, it's about $13.40. There's a bunch of countries in between there. But you go all the way to San Francisco, US, that's around $300 a day. The wage gap between the bottom to the top is 12,000%. In order for you to create a job or any type of brick and mortar business, being a middleman for any business, you only need a 50 to 60% margin. 12,000% is insane. What we realized is that all the competitors in the space, including Web2 and Web3, you need a KYC. Because there's a form of quote unquote credit score identification that's tied to a singular user. So the challenge for us was how do we build that type of credit-based reputation system on chain or online without it affecting directly government subsidized identifications. This is kind of one of the bigger challenges for us without wanting it to be soul-bound and while being able to offer like a monetization method behind that. That's something that we had to like reinvent over and over. But at the end of the day, the question that it ends up being able to tackle, what I think it's really interesting where you're creating these jobs is I've been in the Web3 space the last 9.5, 10 years. I built a lot of products from infra to like bank-related stuff to exchanges to dApps. And the one thing that really bothered me was that I was consistently building for the 1% of the global economy. But there's a lot of people that are within growing and developing nations that want to participate in Web3, that want to speculate, but can't because they can't spend their daily wages on speculative assets. But when you can change that paradigm to doing Skillshare or sharing your interest online, and that being able to generate revenue for you, like in the tips that are done in meme coins or other speculative assets like AVAX or other DeFi tokens or so on and so forth, I think that's when it really tries to change the paradigm of people being able to monetize within the space.
Yeah, that was great. I think so. One thing I always wanted to see in the arena that I've ended up seeing recently was, could someone earn a livelihood on this app? And that's very difficult in developed nations. But what we're seeing is in developing nations, we have the data to show this. We have users. A lot of them are actually actual artists, not just NFT artists, that are using the arena exclusively every day to earn a livelihood. Like, that is their job. Can they connect with enough people? Can enough people tip them, buy their ticket, engage with them, buy their artwork off app, that they could sustain a livelihood? And we have that right now. We have a growing sort of user base from out east in particular that is using this app to earn a livelihood. I think that's super cool that you can literally just like connect with people and create content, and that's your sole job, kind of like what Eric was saying. So we're seeing that today. And then obviously a lot of the Western users are really speculating because they're able to. But yeah, so seeing a similar experience.
I'm going to ask one last question, but then I'll turn it over to the audience if any of you guys have questions, since we have a little bit of time for that. But I'm curious sort of to hear your thoughts, this SocialFi area is exploding, especially in the Avalanche ecosystem. What are you sort of looking out for over the next year? What are you keeping your eye out for in terms of trends in the space, in terms of new apps, in terms of your own platforms? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll kick this off. I think what's really exciting about this cycle is, up until this cycle, we had what was called like a fat protocol thesis. A lot of you have probably heard this, but the belief in the early days was that all the value accrued to the layer one, the protocol layer. And that's why you saw the birth of all these layer ones in like 2018 till 2021, Avalanche, Solana. Like all of these L1s started around that time of infra. And it was a fat protocol thesis. So all the value accrued, these things went up 1,000,000%. And now for the first time, we're seeing the flip of the fat protocol thesis. So it's not about all the value accruing to the protocol, it's now accruing to the app layer. And we're actually seeing apps that are generating or accruing more value than some of their underlying blockchains. We've seen crazy breakout consumer apps on the revenue side, generating tens of millions of dollars without a token. So we're going to see an acceleration of consumer apps. This is the first time that you could build stuff in this space that average people can use without needing to know niche crypto expertise. And that's only accelerating. There's more and more apps being built, mobile apps in particular. Almost every blockchain has a mobile stack now. We're seeing stuff getting approved by the App Store for iOS and Android. So we're super early. I think a lot of the big apps now will be first movers, but you're going to see like this is going to be the main thesis in 2025 and going forward. And that's really exciting because we should get to a future, I think Eric said this, pretty much where it's about the app you're using, not even like the chain it's built on or what's lying beneath it. Like, think about the apps you use today. You don't think about what they're built on top of. And that's an exciting future.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think all creators are starting to understand that they can actually earn from what they do every day, and the fact that with this SocialFi app and blockchain-backed consumer app, you can start really own your network, monetize everyday engagement, and effectively authenticate every type of content with the emerging age of AI. I think that these three pillars are going to become more and more importantly, and the fact that the tech is advancing so much and is actually becoming much more accessible. And this is also something that AI has probably done better than blockchain, making the tech accessible to everybody. I think that users and artists and creators are just going to pivot towards new platforms and new consumer apps in comparison of just continue to hang around on apps that can give you sheer visibility, but with all the algorithms issues, that's no longer enough. And I think when you can start effectively live out of what you make every day, that's a game changer. And nowadays, like content is consumed at every time. Like you go on the plane, you get back Wi-Fi. The first thing you do is like just consume content. When you have like 5 minutes free from work, you just consume content. And so that's the direction where we're going for sure to head towards.
Do you want to add anything, or we can?
Sure. I think you guys both hit it on the head in the sense of come on, guys, how many more L2s do we need? Like, I'll just be the guy to say it out loud. Like, I think I saw a map today on the way here that was looking at the Bitcoin L2s that are in the space. Apparently, there's over 200 of them. It's ridiculous. Like, there will be I mean, I've had this thesis since 2018. So I think the killer consumer dApp thesis of the fact that that's what will bring a Web 2 audience and mass adopt them into Web 3 it's just true. And I don't care how many more L2s or L3s or layer 1s that they end up coming up with. I think it's ultimately true that the consumers don't care what kind of technology that you're building on as long as it works and as long as it works well.
Great. All right, we can open up to some questions. We have under 5 minutes if anyone has a question. Go for it. But there's a mic coming for you. Okay, go for it. Yeah, we can hear you.
Great. Thank you very much, first of all. That was really, really interesting. Jason, question for you. You mentioned in your talk... Hi. You mentioned that some of your content creators have testified that they've earned more in 30 minutes than they have done on X or Instagram previously. I'm not familiar with your platform in great detail, but we work with a lot of content creators with huge social media audiences. How is sort of my question of great fact, love it, but how does it work?
Yeah. The best way to see how would probably be to, not shilling it, but to go on the app, arena.social, and make a post and see what happens, and then check your wallet in 30 minutes if you have like a decent following. But we are a SocialFi app, so we have a ticket model similar to Friendtech's key model, where people can buy and sell access to a content creator, and then price goes up or down accordingly on a bonding curve, and they earn fees. So what ends up happening is if it's a celebrity or someone with a large following, people see that, and they speculate on the fact that this person will be worth a lot on this app if they stick around, and I want access to them. So they'll buy them, they'll tip them, and we've seen a lot of people earn $200 in 30 minutes, and it's not just testimonies. You can verify that. And then for a lot of people, like I know X just started increasing their payouts, but prior to that, there were people with millions of impressions earning, I don't know, $50 a month. And on these other platforms, you don't earn anything. So it's a super like powerful model. We're adding more to it to advance it, to evolve it, so it's more sustainable. But that's how. And we are also working on user retention, but especially in that early onboarding phase. Yeah, you get big dopamine hit of people buying and selling your ticket and direct monetization.
Thank you.
I can testify. I've made a bit off of Arena, and I'm not even an influencer.
Anyone else?
And a lot of people have made 6 figures on this app, for the record.
Going once?
And just today, we had 11,000 AVAX airdropped. So.
Yeah, right. Well, we have 1 minute and 43 seconds, so why don't you talk about the airdrop?
The AVAX?
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, does anyone have any other questions? Probably more important than this. But.
Yeah, there's no other questions.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go for it.
1 token.
Oh, fine. There it is. I was hoping to get through one panel without it. No, all right, I'll answer the airdrop. Yeah, this morning there was 11,000 AVAX. What is that worth? Like close to 300,000, I guess. That was airdropped to Arena user wallets based on their activity and how many points they've earned to date. And that got a lot of hype in the community, a lot of, as any airdrop does, a lot of good speculation, and a lot of users from other chains are now very curious. A lot of that liquidity is flowing back into the ecosystem, which allows other people to earn more. It's a nice flywheel. And this is right before our actual token airdrop coming very soon. In a matter of matter of days to weeks.
Boom. Okay. I guess we can wrap it up there. Thank you for your time today. Thank you to the audience for the question. And yeah, thanks.
Thank you.